Hello, I'm Jacky, and today I'm going to be reading Chapter 2 of The Swoose, written by Dick Kingsmith. Chapter 2. As Fitzherbert swam hastily away from his pursuers, he spread his wings and beat them madly on the water in an effort to increase his speed. Harder and harder he flapped, and then he felt his body lift a little, so that now, instead of swimming, he was slapping his broad webs on the surface in a kind of clumsy run. Suddenly he was airborne, and the swans, satisfied they had seen off the stranger, did not trouble to follow. It wasn't much of a flight, that first effort. For perhaps a quarter of a mile, Fitzherbert laboured along only a few yards above the water, and then, tired out by his efforts, flopped back down into the river. He looked anxiously around. To his great relief, there were no signs of the swans. Nasty, bad-tempered creatures, he said to himself. I wasn't doing them any harm. Why, my dad might have been one of that lot. I don't know that I want to meet him after all. He swam on, looking about him with interest. He could see other birds on the water, different sorts of duck and moorhen and coot. And there was a sudden brilliant flash of colour as a kingfisher darted across. There were people on the river too, in rowing boats and punts, and one very long thin craft shot by with 8 large young men pulling their oars, while a 9th, much smaller man steered and shouted at them through a kind of tube held to his mouth. In, out, he called. The blades dipped and rose as one. Fitzherbert drifted dreamily with the current, enjoying the sunlit scene, when suddenly a sharp voice cried, Avast there, you landlubber, or you'll run us down. Startled, the Swoose looked down to meet the angry gaze of the small water vole. Oh, sorry, said Fitzherbert. I'm afraid I wasn't looking where I was going. Vole did not answer. Swam to the bank. Fitzherbert followed. I suppose you couldn't tell me, he said. Vole turned at the mouth of his bowl. Tell you what, he said. Where I'm going. The vole stared bigly at the Swoose. Are you feather-brained? He said. No, Fitzherbert. Water vole shook his blunt head as though to clear it. Tell us something, he said. You come sailing along without any regard for the rules of the river, and then you go and talk a load of rubbish. Anyways, I've never in my life set eyes on a bird like you. What are you? I'm a... began Fitzherbert. Then he thought, oh no, I promised Mum I wouldn't tell. I really can't say, he replied. You don't know what you are, said the vole. You don't know where you're going. Next thing you'll be telling me you don't know what river this is. No, I don't. And you don't know the name of the town you can see down there at the end of the reach. No. Nor the castle on the hill above it. No. Nor who lives in that castle. No, said Fitzherbert. I've never been outside our farmyard before. I'd be very grateful if you could tell me. You're lucky, young fellow, said the vole. You've come to the right chap. Now, if you'd asked a moorhen, or worse, a duck, you'd be wasting your breath. But there isn't much that I don't know about the here stretch of the Thames. What? The Thames. That's the name of this river. This famous river in all of England. And that down yonder is Windsor. And that's Windsor Castle above it. Now then, surely you know who lives there. No. Why, the Queen, of course. Oh, Fitzherbert said. The Queen. Oh, sighed deeply. You're a brat one, he said. She's only the most important person in the land. That's all. At this point, a pair of swans appeared in midstream. Fitzherbert backed into a clump of reeds and kept his head down. Now, do you see those swans? Said the Bull. They belong to the Queen. They do, like every other swan in the country. Royal birds, swans are. Oh, thought Fitzherbert, I wonder if Swoose are. But she's never seen one. This Queen. This Queen, he said. What's her name? Victoria. She's been Queen for donkey's years. Yes? Donkey's ears, said Fitzherbert. Aye, 'tis ages ago she lost her husband. Can she find him? Watervole sighed and continued. And ever since she shut herself up in that castle, always dressed in black, she is. Widow of Windsor, they call her. How do you know all these things? Asked Fitzherbert. I keep my ears open, said the Watervole. Windsor folk come out boating on this river, and I listen to all the latest gossip. She doesn't sound very happy, Queen, Fitzherbert. She isn't, grumpy old thing from all accounts. Perhaps she needs cheering up. Easier said than done. Anyone tries to make a joke and she says, "We are not amused," said the Bull. With that, he vanished into his burrow. A moment later, he stuck his head out again. She might be amused at you, though, he said. Why don't you pay her a visit? Why don't I? Thought Swoose. I will, he said, and I'll come back and tell you all about it. Then it occurred to him probably a great many water voles living beside the Thames. So, can you tell me your name? Please, he said. Alf, the vole. He disappeared once more. Thank you for reading chapter 2 with me. Subscribe to my channel to have a look at chapter 3.